Hello all, welcome to today's session. So we are continuing learning Python in easy way, and we are continuing with different types of variables as well as if and else conditions, which are the control flow statements or conditional statements. So before that, we also want to see a bit more about operators. So we'll just go through operators also. So let's begin. So in the previous session, so we had briefly covered different types of data types and how do you declare variables. So we have already covered all of those things. So now we'll just continue with our different types of operators we use. Okay. For example, with sample addition, subtraction, mathematical operations we have seen, but let's see a different type of mathematical operator, which is division. Okay, so we do have two types of division over here, which is floor division and float division in Python. So let's just see briefly what could be the difference between them. Okay. So I'm just using the previous Google Colab file. If you want, you can open a new file and start over. Here you go. So I'll just take two numbers. For example, I'll just take x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 3. Okay. So it doesn't divide. 3 cannot divide 10 completely. Like, we don't get the remainder 0 if you divide 10 by 3. So let's just print x by y. Okay. So we get 3.3. It's just connecting to the console. Yeah, 3.333. The number of decimal places it has taken is this long. But here you see, this is simple division. So we call in Python as floor division. I mean, we are getting the decimal points. So let's see if I want just the integer portion of this quotient. So we are getting 3.3333 over here. So I just want the integer number. I don't want the decimal portion. Okay. Like it's just my requirement. In order to fulfill that, I can just check out one more type of division in Python, which is available is this double slashes. Double forward slashes indicate float division. I'm sorry, this could be float division and this could be floor division. So in floor division, we only prefer integer numbers. See, we are getting only 3. So that's the difference between floor division and float division. So as and when required inside the programs, we can use both of the divisions. Let's say if suppose we are trying with operators now. Okay, we have to try out the modulo operator once. So we all know the modulo operator. We know the division and we know, in division we have divisor, divide, and quotient, remainder, everything we know, right? The basics. So for example, if, I'm just sharing a whiteboard. See, here you go. I have 10 and I'm just dividing by 5. Okay. So 5 times 2 would be 10. So here the remainder would be 0, right? So the modulus operator gives us the result of this division. Result means we are getting the remainder after division. So what's the remainder after division? 0. So now if suppose if I do 10 modulo 5, so I get 0. So first would be the dividend and then comes the divisor. 10 modulo 5 would be coming as 0. So let's just quickly check over there. X equals to 10, y is equal to 5, print x modulo y, 0. Okay. So Maybe, for example, if we do the reverse. See, if at all, if, see, I cannot divide 5 by 10, right? Because I cannot divide it completely. I get to see 5 over 10 would be 0.5 something. So which cannot be coming, the whole number. I am not getting the numbers. In that case, how do we do here? So here, the smaller number, 5 modulo 10. So we just get the smaller number as the output in this operator, modulo operator. So hope that's clear. So the other operators, as you just see here, x is equal to 7, y is equal to 8, and I'm just printing whether y is greater than x. So is it true or false? Just tell me. Obviously, 8 is greater than 7. It is true. And one more important thing here is we get logical output. We get true or false output. So in comparison operators, so whenever we try to compare two outputs, okay, maybe for example we have x and y, or we are just taking the comparator operators inside the if conditions, the decision makers, the conditional statements. If x is greater than y, do this, or else do this. So if I am creating such kind of conditional flow statements, so maybe, or else if in for loop also or in while loop also. So whenever I want to use comparator operators, so I need to keep in mind that the output of this is going to be logical. Like either it can be true or it can be false. Okay. So I don't get 0, 1, or I don't get the actual output. No. So it's like always true or false. But based on this, if I build a if condition logic, that looks beautiful. You see, if I just write if x is greater than y. Okay. So here you observe, if I'm writing a conditional statement, I need to end this line with colon. Okay. So whenever I write the colon and then press enter, it obviously starts from an indentation. A tab space will be there. And the space between this margin and this print statement, so that's known as indentation, which is highly important in Python. We need to take care of it all the time whenever we write programs. So here you go, the indentation. So we can print if x is greater than y, what can I print? I just can print x is greater than y. Then else, if the condition which I have mentioned inside the if statement is false, I mean, it's not gonna be true. So for example, x is not greater than y, x is less than y. So if x is less than y, what's going to be executed? So I just can print x is not greater than y. Simple. So x is equal to 7 and y is equal to 8 I have taken. So here you go. I am using comparator operators. So x is greater than y, 7 is greater than 8, which is false, isn't it? So from the comparator operators, I'm getting either true or false. And the if statement also works in the same way. So how does if statement works? They also work. See, if condition is equal to true, then only, you know, statements inside if loop gets executed. If the condition which I have mentioned inside the if statement is not true, it's going to be false. We have only two options here. Else, statements inside else loop gets executed. Okay, simple. So if and else is clear already, isn't it? So we can mention any kind of statements over here, need not be only comparator operators. So say we can mention x is y, x is not y. We will see a lot of different operators and we can make use of them in if and else conditions, and different types of if statements we'll see shortly in today's session itself. Okay, so that's how we implement comparator operators in if and else. Let's see one more assignment. Okay, so for example, we know the assignments. So assignment means assigning one value to the other, isn't it? So simple. See, x equals to 7. Okay. So now you see here, x equals to 7 means here right to left assignment. So 7 value will be assigned to x. So that's how I have assigned it in the beginning. And then later you see this shorthand, x plus equals to 3. So what it means, x plus equals to 3, just give it a thought in 1 second. It means x equals to x plus 3. Simple. Instead of I'm writing, x equals to x plus 3. Okay, add x plus 3, then you assign to x. I'm just simply writing x plus equals to 3. Simple. So then, see, these are the comments I've told you in the last session itself. This is how we write the comments. So, okay, then print. So the output will be, can you guess the output also? X plus equals to 3, simple. X equals to x plus 3, that means x equals to, what is the value of x actually? Previously I have assigned 7. So x equals to 7 plus 3. So which is nothing but x equals to 10. So I will be getting the output as 10. That's it. And then this is again a comparator operator. Double equals to, single equals to assignment operator, double equals to comparator operator, whether I'm checking the x and y values are equal or not. Again, see, whenever I am comparing something, I get true or false. Whether they are equal, I get true. Whether they're not equal, I get false. So just that. Obviously 7 and 8 maybe values of x and y are not equal, so I'm getting false here. Okay, cool. So we have seen pretty much comparator operators. X less than y in the it works in the same way, greater than, less than, or else what do we have next is not equals to also. Let's just try that. I'm reassigning different values. X equals to 14, y is equal to 16. If x not equals to, same, right? I'm just checking it in the same way. X not equals to y, then print x is not equal to y. Else print x is equal to y. Simple logic. So here 14 and 16 are obviously not equal. So it executes the statements inside the if loop. So it gets the result will be x is not equal to y. So let's make them equal. So it executes the statement inside the else condition. So why am I telling you in detail? Because you will be remembering, it's like, you're learning everything in detail, in together, because you cannot learn piece by piece. Whenever you're learning a programming language, you learn all the subjects together. You build the concept together. You learn the skill. As I mentioned earlier, also once, skill building is really mandatory now. So if you're investing 1 hour or 30 minutes to watch this video, you would build the skill in that time duration. And that's how you have to work on that. And you have to focus in that way so that you build the skill at this moment. So that's what I prefer, and you'll be doing also. So I mean, in that way you have to focus. So that's the comparator operators, assignment operators. We have multiple assignments, simple assignment, add and assign, subtract and assign. We can try out some of them. After add and assign, subtract and assign. Just a second. So let's see. Subtract and assign is equals to 10. X minus equals to 3. That means 10 minus 3. We get 7. And multiply and assign. X multiply equals to 3. That means x will be assigned with x times 3. So if I assign the value of x before is 8, so 8 times 3, 24 will be assigned back to x. So the new value of the x will be 24. Hello. So multiply and assign, we did it. Similarly, divide and assign also we can do, and the other operators, the modulo and assign, it works in the same way. So let's see. Okay, some of the comparison operators we have seen equals to, not equals to, greater than, less than, greater than or equals to, less than or equals to, right? So greater than or equals to, less than or equals to. So we just can check them once. Similarly, right, if x greater than or equals to y, x is greater than or equals to y, or x is not greater than equals to y, less than or equals to works in the same way. So let's begin with a new operator, which is logical operators. Okay. So we all know logical operators means they have to deal with zeros and ones. Either we have to perform AND operation for zeros and ones, or we have to do OR operation or NOT operation. These are the basic logical operators from Boolean algebra. So Boolean algebra, we deal with only zeros and ones, the binary values, basically which the computers I can understand only the binary values, and that's how the Boolean algebra evolved into, and we can perform different operations. Okay. For example, firstly, I'll tell you the basics of how do we understand and how do we produce the result for AND operation and OR operation and NOT operation, and then I come back to Python. So I'm again sharing the whiteboard. Don't mind about the lines. See, for example, we do have two inputs. Okay, I'll just take one variable as x and the other variable I take as y. So for example, I have zeros and zero. See, for those who already know logical operators or the basics of the Boolean algebra and AND operators and all, that's good. I'm just explaining for those who don't know. So zero and zero. See, the AND operation works in this way. So see, zero means in Boolean algebra, it's false. One means it is true. You just take a concept of you know just to think. Oh, just a second. See, I'm just thinking of zero as poison and one as amrit, or you can say some nectar. Okay, so now this is the result column. So if you mix amrit and vish, or since it is zero and zero, if you mix up wish and wish, what is the output? Output is going to be 0. And if you mix 1 and 0, that is one is amrut and one is wish. If you mix both of them, we are again going to be see the, if you mix them, it's finally going to be wish poison only, right? So then you take the other combination 0 and 1, and this is also wish and amrut, you're going to get 0 wish only. So then finally, if both are nectar or both are amrut, then there is no poison here. So we are getting 1. So this is how the AND operation, just a simple ideology to you for understanding. So now this is AND. Okay. So just OR operation, let's see. Or we have different ideology. See, 0 or 0. Which one you'll choose? You don't have any option. You can choose only 0. 0 or 1. Which one you'll choose? You choose 1. 1 or 0. Which one you'll choose? 1. 1 or 1. No option. 1. So this is how OR operator, and this is how the AND operator works. Okay. So now the complement or the NOT operator. So 0, if you want to NOT it, if you want to make a complement, how do you do? You just change it to 1, and if you are given with 1 and you want to complement it or take a NOT operator of it, you are getting 0. Okay, so these are the three operators we have discussed under logical operators. So let's see. So now I'll just give x equals to, see, since I have discussed only Boolean algebra, I'll just take up true or false Boolean values. X equals to true, y is equal to true. Okay, so now I'm printing x and operator y. True. And if suppose I'll just change this to false, I should get false. That's how it works. And then I can check with OR once. X or Y. True. True or true is true. False or true is also true. So this is how OR operator worked out. And if suppose if I have x equals to, yeah, true, print not x. Not is a keyword, or is a keyword, and is a keyword. So not of true is going to be false. So this is how things are working in logical operators. So now we just can check an implementation of logical operators. Suppose, okay, we can try out this first. If x and y, that means, see, I told you in if statement, we are always checking for true. If this statement inside the if loop is evaluating to be true, then only I'm just executing whatever the statements inside the loop, right? So if now x and y is evaluating to be true, it's coming as true, then only I'm just going to print this, whatever inside the if loop. Else, I just have other options. So I'll just print x and y are not true. So this is just a simple example of how do I use logical operators inside if statements or for loop or inside while loop. So different programming techniques we can make use of logical operators. And one more, okay, if I run this, yeah, x and y are true because I had x equals to true and y is equal to true. That's why. Let's say x equals to 0, y is equals to 1. See, if x or y. So here 0 or 1 is going to be 1. So that's why x or y is going to be true, will be printed. X or y is true. So this is how I can implement. So combining, you see here, different conditions. X equals to 10, y is equal to 10. So now I'm combining different operators together. So x greater than y is checked. Condition is checked. And x equals to y, whether they're equal or not, condition is checked. And then both of the results are combined with OR operator. So this can also work in this way. So this is kind of an application of logical as well as comparator operators. See, you don't need to worry about, okay, which operator it is, how do I write this operator? No, you just understand the concept. Okay, this is greater than, this is less than, this is equals to, and this is logical and, this is logical or. Don't worry about the logical word. It's simple. It's just 0 and 1. There's no complexity involved. So here I'm just checking, okay, x greater than y. Maybe I may get true and okay, not and, or I may get x equals to y, I may get false. So now the result is one step more. So true or false, which is the output, true, correct? True or false is going to be true. So this will be the true. So whenever I get true in if statement, then this inside loop body, so the loop body gets executed, else it will get executed. If it is false, then this line will get executed like this it is. So here x equals to 10, y is equals to 10, and I know x greater than y is false. X equals to y is true. So F or T, true or false, true. X is greater than y is going to be printed. But it's logically incorrect statement. X is greater than or equals to y is a proper statement. Okay. So with the help of all these operators, I'll just tell you now, I'll just tell you how do we create a logic, which is even and odd number logic. So how do we check whether the number is even or number odd? Usually, how do you check? With divisions, right? If a number is divided by 2, you successfully tell, okay, it's even number. If it's not divisible by 2, you just tell, okay, it's not an even number. Like, why do I bother about this mathematics a lot? Because it's easy to show you the operators. It's not that someone will come and ask you, how do you divide a number? And how do you tell me it's even, odd, or Fibonacci series? No, it's not that, but it is helping us a lot. It's helping us to make us understand how to put in the operators in the right place and understand the operation involved in it. So to know that, we just simply start with even odd logic. So even and odd number, finding like it's a program to find the input number is even or odd. So now, any one of you have already got this question of how do I get a user input in this Python console? That also I'll tell you now before I go ahead and write the logic. How do we take user input? So now the user input, right? If I'm a user, I'm using this programming language, I need to put some inputs into the program so that, the real time values are taken into consideration when running the program. So if that is the case, just take input, any variable name you take is equal to, there is an input function in Python which helps us to take an input from a user. Okay. So input, enter a number. That's it. See, now you'll be asked to enter a number, 7. Enter. That's it. 7 is printed because I'm printing here, right? So now I just don't simply print like this. I want to check whether the number which is given as input from the user is even or odd. I need to check that. So to check that, I just need to use if and else, I'm sure. So if, how do I check whether the remainder after dividing by 2 is 0 or not? How do I check that? Just remember, just recall what I told. You have modulo operator to check the reminders. Easily you can check the remind whenever you have reminders, go for modulo operators. So if, yeah, this, okay, if input variable modulo 2, any number, it can be 3 4 5 6 7 800,000, any number. If it is exactly dividing by the 2 and it's giving you the remainder as 0. So how am I checking that? You see, modulo 2, number divided by 2 and the remainder of that operation is compared with 0 with the help of two equals comparator operator. So if that is equals to be 0, then I'm going to print it's an even number. See how beautifully I'm getting suggestions here, which just happens in Google Colab, which just doesn't happen in other programming languages. I mean, other IDEs. Okay. So input variable is even number, else input variable is odd number. So now again, it's asking the number. I'll give 19. We know that 19 is odd. Okay, there is an error. I purposefully made this error. Now you need to recognize what can be the mistake. What could have gone wrong? You just see here, type error. Not all arguments converted during string formatting. Type error occurs whenever there is a mismatch in a data type of the operation. So you're performing numerical operation, addition, subtraction, something, okay, but you're giving a string. Literal string means, a b c strings. So now if you have given a b c to a mathematical operation, then there is a mismatch, right? You cannot add strings. I mean, you can add with the concatenation operation, but other than concatenation, I'm telling, so if simply in between the mathematical operation you are facing a new number, or you're just facing a special character or a string, so then that way it's gonna give you type error. So let's just explain error. You can take the help of Gemini often, just to understand what kind of error it could go wrong, and just to understand what it is. See, it uses input function returns a string. That is the concept we were catching. See, input function over here. No, I told you it helps you to take an input from the user. It's always giving giving the result wherein I've entered 19, right? I've entered 19 in the console. So that 19 is taken as a string data type. I mean, it didn't take as a number. That's a problem here. Whatever you give as an input to the Python, it takes a string data type. It can be you can give boolean, you can give a float, you can give integers, but doesn't matter at all. Whenever you take the input with the help of input function, so this variable, which is input variable, I have written here, right? So that variable will hold the data type of string. That's a mismatch over here. So now I cannot divide a string by 2, right? I cannot divide a string and I can check for reminders. No, I cannot do that. So I don't want this Gemini suggestions. I just cancel. So here you see, okay, input variable. So I cannot directly use input variable. I just need to convert that. You remember the type conversions, if any one of you have gone through already. So type conversion means we are converting from one data type to other data type. So here I have to convert it into integer. So int of this particular variable which I want to convert. Okay. So int of input variable. So int of input variable modulo 2. Now it works fine. So I'm just entering 19. So 19 is an odd number. So this is the logic behind even and odd function. So we have seen the logical operators. And we are left with the identity operators and membership operators, which we'll discuss in the next session. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Have a good day.